Petrobelli was ahead. Rob Collard fights back on the inside line. Petrobelli gets roughed up and somebody else going really wide. That looked like it may have been Charles Dawson, but as they drop down towards Cascades for the first time, Rob Collard has managed to get away. Petrobelli back up the inside to go second. It's Kevin Say in third place, but that could have been a rather messy start. James, they just about got away with it.
They did. Collard looked hard.
All bark, no bite, and did look like the rear left. That jolt car was down a bit. Was that just a divot in the grass? It has got going from the inside of turn 3, so all good. All cars now going.
There is the GT4 leading 84 Ginetta. Jack Mitchell at the wheel of it. Charlie Robertson second. Jack Brown third then in that McLaren. And in fourth, it's another of the Ginettas of Joe Wheeler. As there you can see the number 9 McLaren, Martin Plowman, getting out of the draft, trying to find a way through. Marcus Clapton ahead of him.
No one has any idea who's got the grip, who doesn't. This has got to have someone going off through Crane the curves, because this is seriously wet. Crank the traction control up, boys. Lift your vision up. Get off the racing line. Try and find some grip off the slippery bit. Everyone has done phenomenally well thus far, because this is now getting to a point where you've got to box for wet tyres.
Oh, and off goes Richard Neary. He's heading for the barriers. Crunch into the tyre wall he goes.
Move.
Easy to say that that's a straight line speed advantage, but in fairness to Ravi, he did most of that on the brakes, didn't he? They were level into the braking zone, and Mark Warren didn't make it easy for him.
Let's see if they come on strong in the second half of the season. So far, they look like they're struggling here. And 25 kilos around this track will hurt you, but you can see a GT4, a pass into Pouon maybe. That'll be good.
Ooh, Templeton to the inside, so late on the brakes, Mark Warren. He knew how important it was to get into the corner ahead, which he
do that. That BMW defending really well, but Ramyeed then, does he compromise his own line into the hairpin? Got away with that.
He really did, wasn't he? Ravi Ramyeed putting his stick in the sand, and you shall not pass me there, Luke Garlick, and he's going to have to try and get round, and this is Mahiki's best chance of a result today. Petrobelli round the outside of Simon Orange. Simon Orange not doing any laps in warm-up, and I think that's starting, and Kevin Say keeps that position. In the meantime, as they still stay side by side, so I thought that was going to be job done. Martin really trying to hang it out round the outside, finally tucks in, but look at Collard. He'd had a good start, and he's actually dropped Kevin Say after overtaking him.
That leading the class is Josh Miller, and he's just picked up a track limit warning as well. Plus, he's now got Luca Hopkinson right up behind him. Through they turn. Number 2 McLaren, fastest lap of the race, contact at Old Hall Corner as he dives up the inside of Mike Price. But that McLaren was coming through. Now John Ferguson tries to find a way past him as they go down towards Denton's. Chris Buncombe a little bit delayed by Mike Price getting in the way, and Mike Price has got damage. He was up the curb. The line is wrong coming into Cascade, so I rather fear that brush between the McLaren.
Be what, 10 laps, and then they'll be lapping each other. So yeah, that's when it's going to get a bit crazy,
to say the least. Out of the S's they come for the first time. Jacopo Petrobelli, number 7 Aston Martin, bouncing over the curb. Richard Neary likewise. Nick Jones goes through in the Porsche. Andrew Howard in the Aston goes by. Mark Warren doing a really good job in the opening stages to get away from the opposition in GT4. Big dive by Matt Topham up the inside, number 1. The Lamborghini from Barwell goes ahead now and secures beached on the outside of Redgate.
Yeah, the slightest of touches as we see another touch between the 90 Optima car and the Fassetti 47. That was an interesting one to call. The inside was covered by the 90 car, but was he alongside enough to make it fair? Is that Aston Martin full of grass? I can see the marshals out the window running to Kevin Say's aid. Can they push him out? So hard to push these GT cars out of a gravel.
Oh, absolutely, yes, especially when you know how rapid and aggressive Darren Lung is capable of being. But yeah, that's another great thing about GT racing. Collard's on the grass out of Aintree. He's still on the grass halfway down the Wellington Straight. I'm not entirely sure how he ended up there. He's weaving around to get the dirt off the tyres, and Darren Lung almost sensed an opportunity to get back at him. That, meanwhile, is Simon Orange to the inside of Charles Dawson. That's for 7th position. So,
and that is a dreadful start to the day for Andrew Howard, sadly. So it is Rob Collard leading from Giacomo Petrobelli, from Kevin Say in 3rd. Simon Orange is 4th. It's Charles Dawson 5th, and Richard Neary 6th as you ride on board now with Duncan Cameron in the Ferrari coming out of Knickerbrook. Now the climb up Clay Hill.
Yeah, Neary, just with my own eyes, had an amazing start. He had such momentum on the cars ahead, and I think he's...
Charlie Robertson, and not only is he in the lead, he's just edging away a little bit. Yeah, interesting that. Team managers of that green McLaren and number 42 Mercedes that won earlier on in the day being summoned to race controllers. You look there at Marcus Clapton. And he's another one that's struggled. The gaps have opened up a little bit now, haven't they? So the front of the field has plateaued a little bit. Part of that is the number of corners here that breaks up the pack.
Yeah, it's a difficult circuit to drive, to enjoy, and quite a few things here. There will be yellow flags in that sector, but this could go into a full course yellow and a lengthy one, couldn't it, to move the tyres back at the chicane and do 2 incidents for the price of 1.
And this is bad news, isn't it, for any team that has a substantial compensation time to serve in the pit lane. What they really want, and remember that 42 car is one of them, is a green flag first hour, build a gap. Again, Josh Miller is in the way, and Tilbrook takes to the grass. Doesn't matter though, he's lost 3 positions. Through has gone Collard, through has gone Dawson, through has gone Kevin Say, and that was all caused, I'm afraid to say, by Josh Miller. To be seeing so many penalties.
78, drive-through penalty for track limits car 78.
And the teammate car nearly losing a place. Oh, is there going to be contact? They just avoid.
I think this is going to be job done now for Garlick. Great move, cut up the inside, and is now going to try and make his escape and try and catch that McLaren. That is the whole straightaway here in between turns 3 and 4.
And there are a couple of cars now under investigation for the safety car restart. One is the Honda of Ip, the other is the Porsche of Jones.
Interesting. So again, race control.
We're going to get concerned. Here's a replay of the start.
Yeah, is it going to be contact from the front of this Ginetta we're on board with, and then that more yellow McLaren on our left? We go to the inside, we use the pit exit. That is legal. It's a dotted line. It's actually contact between the 2 cars. Hopkinson, for me, goes in a bit hot, misses the apex, and then opens the door for Miller. Barely anything into the sunlight. Yeah, Marcello now the inside of Clutton. Clutton giving him the hip and shoulder, letting him know he's not going to back down easy. Is he going to do the near? Is he going to back it back in, try and get the run? There's just so much speed of that mid-corner. Clutton does get a good exit, a bit of mud, just trying to widen the track for Jonathan Palmer, the owner of Alton Park, but it looks like that.
Well, there's a big crowd. Really nice to see in the sunshine here. So many people. Even at 7:15 this morning there was a queue to get in, would you believe, as the leading cars then flick onto the Grand Prix loop. That is Nick Jones trying to keep the Porsche in the mix, ready to hand over to Sven Muller. And of course you'll find in GT3 pretty much all the AMs diving for the pit lane as soon as they can when that window opens to maximise the time for the pro in the car. Lose more ground. Sasha Kakad on the inside line in the Audi. Into Hollywood they go, but no, Topham round the outside, hangs onto the place, and that was all a little bit scrappy at Goddard's, wasn't it?
Yeah, just awkward, and we go on board with Loggy. You're going to get a view of them coming to a slow cavers into the back of Radcliffe because he had nowhere to go. Loggy reads it well, doesn't he? 3 places for the price of 1 there. I was a little critical.
Try and have a go at getting back ahead of Ravi Rammeed, but that was a good late lunge. We just caught it in the back of Shot James into the loop. As there, around goes Claude Beauvais. That's a shame.
Where is that? That is Village, the loop?
Yeah,
that's the loop. So I think he's probably got a tank slapper going through Farm, lost it into Village. And
what's going on with Simon Orange? Because as I keep going on about, certain parts he looks close to the leaders, and then you have another look and he's dropped back.
Well, for anyone that watched the Monaco Grand Prix yesterday, you would have seen not being able to overtake is the most incredibly frustrating thing as a racing driver, and I think Dawson's about to experience the same thing behind Orange, because he's clearly a lot quicker. He's coming through the field very quickly, as you'd expect as the championship leader.
Too late, as soon as he picked his braking point, which was probably 2 to 3 metres past his normal reference, as he needed McLeod to leave the door open, which McLeod's never going to do. Sick there, maybe the humidity not allowing that flat sick Porsche to really get to the top speed it needs.
Coming out of Coram there, Johnny Adam hanging on for the moment to that 5th place ahead of the Porsche. And accelerating now up towards the...
which clipped the tyre stack and knocked it out of position. That could be treacherous for GT4.
The top teams need to get onto the drivers in GT4 and say the line is different. As you can see, a great move from Kevin Say down the inside of Topham. He's now on the back of the Optimum McLaren of Morgan Tilbrook. But watch the GT4. Suddenly they've been stolen.
At the number 3 McLaren ahead of Matt Topham. This is the battle for 11th position, or in other words, the battle not to be last in GT3. But Andrew Howard, I'm sure, will be enjoying this scrap nonetheless. For a switch back to the inside of Stavlo, that's not available to him either, so possibly this was traffic induced. Look at that in dirty air, James.
Yeah, that was a lot of dirty air. That should be an easy
overall 4th in the contest. As for the race lead, Kevin Say has now put himself right onto the tail of Rob Collard. They're coming out of Sterling's, and Charles Dawson, who, remember, in the most recent green flag part after the full course yellow, he had managed to drop back quite a bit. He's staying with them for now. W versus Ginetta, Century Motorsport ahead of Mahiki, nose to tail they run up. That's going to cost quite a lot of ground. It's going to throw him from 7th down to 13th position then. And Johnny Ip, who has been rapid this season, goes through...
He's lost the end plate on the right side of off the wing is the only
right.
interesting part. So there might have been contact with something at some point, but that end plate of the wing, that really helps the air stay efficient on that rear wing. For smart, it's really smart there at turn 1. Did the exact opposite to what I thought he would, and it paid off.
And they're not done yet, because Dan Harper wants the place back then, the BMW. And who says these cars are too wide for Alton Park? He was like a rolling start for 3 or 4 corners. That great racing, Sam Neary, who gets better every season, moves ahead of the Red Curry, who is under attack as well from number 14 BMW, which is Brandon Templeton, new to GT Racing there. Look in the background, goes one side, then the other, full send up the inside. Wouldn't think he was new to GT Racing.
No, and speaking to his teammate earlier, Chris Salkeld, they think they've got a very good race car. The BMW is stronger in the race than it is in quali, and it's quick on the straights, so they're going to be able to overtake, as we've just seen there. So they're only going to move forward, I think.
With that car.
Okay, so is that a legacy of the contact? Is it something else? We'll try to find out. Kevin Say comes then now down towards the S's. So John Ferguson in strife as well. Yeah, that car clearly has a big, big problem because it's crawling its way down Starkey Straight, tumbling down the order as the leaders then come down now towards the Melbourne hairpin. It doesn't look like it's a puncture, but he's not going to get to the pit lane, is he? That BMW.
I'm an orange, so Rob Collard, who started 8th on the grid, I believe that is now 6th place for the Lamborghini as one of the Astons bounces over the curbs a little bit further back. Thankfully, no major damage done, it would seem, and they continue on their way. They stream down the Sir Lewis Hamilton straight into
a few places in the process of having that good start. But yeah, a shame about Howard retiring so early on. The perfect start for Collard, you know, tough racecraft at the beginning, but that's exactly what you need to do around Alton Park. He's got the track position, he can now break away, but the Aston's quick. I think that Petrovelli could stay with him.
You're right there about Richard Neary. 9th he started, 60 runs at the moment. As you look at GT4, heading now down towards Lodge Corner, Ravi Ramyeed ahead in the class at the moment from